Jungle is a role that's all about optimizing your time spent between farming camps, ganks, and other objectives on the map. So we often talk about how to speed up your clears, make your ganks better, when to do dragon, etc. However, what if we told you that one of the most important skills that every jungler needs to master, and the one that most of them never do, is actually how to lane? While that might not make a ton of sense right now, by the end of the video, it should. And we're going to give you plenty of examples that show how, and why not knowing how to lane is costing you tons of games as a jungler. But before we get into that, let's talk about our question of the day. What role do you think has the most important synergy with jungle, and why? Personally, I think it's mid lane, just from the fact that they can always move to plays with you, and their priority heavily influences what plays you can make on the map. However, top lane and jungle is a notoriously strong combo just because of the dive and regank potential. Support has similar strengths as mid since they can always roam around with you as well. There's really no right answer here, but we'd love to hear your thoughts. Let us know in the comments below. With that, let's jump right in. For our first example, we've got a gold elo Vi versus a Hecarim. Vi starts at blue, and we can likely say that Hecarim also started bot side due to the enemy bot lane showing lates from the leash. While Vi is clearing towards top side, Darius takes a bunch of trades, ends up dying to the enemy Malphite, and both of them blow flash. He does teleport back after respawning though, and manages to get a return kill onto the Malphite. Because of this, Vi is able to safely grab top crab, having the enemy top lane dead and Neeko with full push priority. So from here, what would you look to do if you're Vi? A lot of you and the player actually piloting Vi in this case would say that aiming to get double crab is the best play here. However, there are a few interactions that we really need to consider before we make that assumption. Getting double crab is usually good. However, in this case, Vi's Raptors are still up, and if we cross through to get bot crab, we're leaving ourselves open to getting counter jungled, completely neutralizing the advantage of getting both crabs. This already makes going to bot side not that great here, but an even bigger deal is our top lane state right now. Darius died first in this interaction, and then teleported back. This means that he didn't have any gold to spend and hasn't bought any items at all. Malphite on the other hand got a kill as well as some CS before dying, meaning that when he teleports back, he actually has a significant item advantage over Darius, even though they technically have roughly the same amount of gold. Malphite has just spent his. Kills aren't really the most important part of the game. It's what happens after the kill that really matters. In fact, ganks aren't even always about getting kills. You'll often see that at high level, junglers will show up just to help push out a wave because that's what the laner needs in order to stabilize their game. In this case, Darius needs to recall in order to equalize the item advantage. And with a huge wave coming into his tower, he's not going to get a great chance to do that until he at least pushes out again and crashes onto the enemy tower. We know based on this lane state that Darius's wave will 100% push back towards Malphite, meaning he's going to have to overextend. Couple this with the fact that Hecarim is also pathing towards top side and neither top lane has flash, we're essentially just handing the enemy jungler a free kill. From here, Malphite can just recall and let the wave come to him, or he can push out. In either case, he denies Darius a ton of gold and XP through the wave. Gold is always important in League, but even more important early on is experience. For early levels, you level up on every wave, which means that getting denied just one wave can completely lose you the lane. Junglers often don't understand this, and won't do things to protect their laners from being denied extremely hard. To put it into perspective, level ups give you stats, and stats cost money. So by nature, we can now assign a value to each level up. Just the raw stats you gain from each level alone are worth around 550 to 600 gold depending on the champion. This means that one wave is about equal to getting 2 kills. If we talk about the gold from last hitting that same wave, you're only getting on average about 120 gold. Once again, it's not really the kill itself that matters, but what you can do after the kill. In almost all cases, the lane state itself regarding minions is going to be vastly more important than the gold gained. This is why in high elo, you'll rarely see laners complaining about junglers taking kills. If it lets them put their wave in a favorable spot, they're winning really hard regardless. Vi not knowing this goes to bot crab, unaware that she's basically going to trade a crab for over 3 kills worth of gold, and with what we know now, obviously this is a bad trade. So what should she have done instead? After seeing the Malphite teleport in, it would be really easy to just rush a gank and try and kill him. Then she can help Darius push out the wave and avoid this whole situation altogether. If she didn't have a ward to place for Hecarim's counter gank, it would be okay to also go to her Krugs and just sit around the area to counter gank Hecarim instead. Either way, she could make sure Darius doesn't get denied and the game would be much more stable. To make matters worse, right after the bot crab, she gets a successful gank off onto the enemy bot lane. However, she just walks away right after, not thinking about what her laners need to do to actually capitalize on the kill. While they do get some gold from the kill, Kai'Sa is unable to actually crash the wave. Leaving it frozen right in front of the enemy tower. Not only would this be an extremely easy gank for Hecarim to now come in and get a double kill on, she's going to be denied the entire wave plus some of the next wave as well. We already mentioned before how valuable one wave in top lane would be for Darius, but because this is bot lane, it's even more important. Shared XP is not a 50% split, meaning that when two people get experience for the wave, in this case Sona and Kai'Sa, you actually get around 125% value, meaning that denial in bot lane has an even bigger impact, and this wave is worth more gold than the top lane wave. Our particularly wave savvy viewers might have also noticed something pretty important during this last clip. If you were paying close attention, you'd see that Sona isn't helping to hit the wave at all. So it's likely that if she were to help, or had Kai'Sa pinged or tried to push the wave faster, that they probably could have pushed the wave and gotten it to crash. And this is where we have to put a very important reminder. You are playing solo queue, and your teammates, even as laners, also probably don't know what to do with their waves. Even at super high level, like Challenger Plus, a lot of coaching revolves around just waves. This means that even if your teammates could do the right thing, don't ever expect them to. If you want to carry, you need to simplify decisions for your teammates. If you get a gank and freezing the wave is a viable punish, your teammates won't know that they should freeze, and they'll just break it and not actually end up getting the maximum punish onto the enemy laner because they can't crash the wave in time. Just push the wave with them and don't rely on them making the right decisions. If you just crash the wave, you can guarantee that your laners will have at least a good time to base, and in a lot of cases, you can ping or type to try to get them to recall. In other words, don't leave the decision making up to them. If you know what the right call is, and you know what your laner needs to do in order to win their lane, just do it for them. It's mutually beneficial for you to get experience and for your teammates to win off of it. We know what you're going to say though. My teammates will rage and type at me if I try to do this. And you're definitely not incorrect. But as long as you are 100% sure that you know what to do with the wave, do it anyways and just mute. I've been flamed tons of times while smurfing for helping my lanes, because they don't realize I'm actually helping them. However, it has won me a lot more games than it's ever costed me. Before we get on to our next example, we just want to make sure you know where our guides come from. Check out our hyper improvement system at skillcap.com. We have professional courses by the top players, Smurf commentaries where a challenger player walks you through how to climb out of every rank from Iron to Diamond, and we upload tons of new exclusive guides to our website each week. In fact, we're so confident you'll improve using our system that if you don't climb at least 5 divisions while actively using Skillcap, you can claim a full refund, so there's no risk. What are you waiting for? Check out skillcap.com and get the rank you've always wanted. Link in the description below. Let's jump right back in. For our next example, we've got another gold game with a Shaco versus Master Yi. Shaco has a great gank onto the enemy bot lane, resulting in a double kill. As expected, however, he does very little to actually help with the wave state after the gank. This leaves our Senna to manage the wave on her own, and again as expected, she doesn't do a great job of that. She delays her push by a lot to go Ward Dragon for no reason, and then ends up having to use cooldowns to escape. If you were Shaco in this situation, this entire sequence could have easily been avoided. He could have pushed the lane immediately after the kill, and while the wave is crashed, they would have an easy timer to do Dragon with the death timers and the wave. Instead, Shaco ends up going back to his camps and is on wolves when his lane is overextended, leaving them vulnerable. He would have ideally wanted to be doing Dragon while his bot lane wave was pushed, and not only would it allow them to rotate over without missing anything, he could cover them should a fight break out. Again, another perfect example of why simplifying the decisions your team has to make is so important. If you leave it up to your teammates, they will usually mess it up. We can take it upon ourselves to take responsibility. If we don't expect our team to do the right thing, we shouldn't blame them when they don't. We should blame ourselves for not just making the right thing happen. We can pull plenty of other examples as well, so here's another game where we have a gold Rengar. He ganks bottom and gets a double kill for it, but as you can probably expect by now, he doesn't do anything to impact the lane. This means that Zilean is left alone to try and fix the wave. Not only does Zilean not know to spam auto to try and push the wave as fast as possible to deny the maximum amount of CS to the tower, Rengar is also just missing out on a huge amount of experience and gold for absolutely no reason. He does give over all the resources to his support, which, nice guy I guess, but if you're playing Rengar you really want all the gold you can get. It's mutually beneficial here to take the resources to get the wave in a better spot quicker and deny more from the enemy laners, all while not relying on your teammate to make the correct call. This delays Zilean's base by a lot, and he actually stays in lane, not recalling at all. Rengar could have easily typed and told Zilean to base after helping him push the wave, and then he'd have much more pressure from his bot lane. Instead, Zilean hasn't taken advantage of any of the kill or wave gold he's just acquired, and isn't going to snowball his lead. Knowing what your laners need to do to win their lane is incredibly valuable, and noticing when they're messing up and guiding them to the right play is something higher ranked players do a lot in order to make their teammates perform better. For one last example, just so you know how often this really happens, we've got a Hecarim into Mundo matchup. In this game, Hecarim finds a successful kill onto the enemy mid laner, and we surely don't need to tell you by now, but he doesn't help push the wave at all. This leaves Annie sitting at 250 HP to solo shove out the wave. Vel'Koz will get back soon, missing very little for his death, and will actually have a quite easy time solo killing Annie or freezing the wave from this position. Don't get us wrong, wave management is an extremely difficult skill. There's no way that we can teach you everything about it in just one video, but junglers often just think that they don't need to know it when it's actually one of the most valuable skills to master. We hope that this video has helped you think about the game in a different light, and showed you why it's important as a jungler to still learn about how the other roles in the game work. And for any laners watching this, it's important that you understand how jungle works as well. At high level, you need to know not just how your part works in the machine that is the entire team, but also how all of the other parts work with yours as well. If you want to improve fast and get the rank you've always wanted, then check out skillcap.com, link in the description below. We've got plenty of other guides just like this one, and I definitely recommend watching courses focused on laning even if you're a jungler, for now obvious reasons. Otherwise, you know the deal. Make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon to get more premium guides with one goal in mind, helping you become the better player. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.